This episode of Tekzilla is brought to you by Domain.com.
At Halco Punch tweets at Tekzilla, I recently brought the whole Transmetropolitan series on Comixology. What's your recommendation for a tablet just for comics? Transmetropolitan is an awesome series, not for the kids, because it's a little naughty. But
That's okay.
It's an amazing comic book series, one of my personal favorites. I don't know how I feel about comics on tablets.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first, but there's a lot of different apps that you can use specifically for comics. So first off, there are several apps for comic book reading across multiple devices. The top three are being Comixology, of course, or Comics as they call it, Marvel Unlimited, and then there's the Kindle reading app as well. Comixology has a vast library. They have lots of customization features for reading comics, such as you can zoom in for a high-res look at pages. You can do panel reading from panel to panel, which is really cool. You can also do landscape mode, so you can see two pages by side. So Comixology is also free to download, which is wonderful. And then, of course, next up is Marvel Unlimited. That one is free to download, and each and every comic book does cost money, or you can sign up for a subscription service. Monthly is about $10, or annually is $69, but that's like unlimited access to all of Marvel's comic books. Right. And this app does smart panel reading as well, which is similar to Comixology's panel reading, and zooming, as well as a landscape mode. And of course, lastly is Kindle Apps. So this one lets you download ebooks from the Kindle store. They do have some comics to download, and they also have manga like Dragon Ball, which is awesome. I totally approve of this. And then comics do have panel reading, but there is no zoom, which is kind of weird. However, if you are reading a book, such as a lot of mangas are considered books, so you can just flip from page to page, there is no panel reading. You can zoom in on those ones, but no panel reading and no landscape mode. So, with all that in mind, with those three different apps, my first thought was, hey, the Amazon Kindle Fire HDX, because that has a vast library. You can get Comixology, but at 7 inches, their HDX is a little bit small. And when it comes to comics, I'm sorry to say this, but size does matter.
Well, it's funny, right? But you spend large parts of your life reading.
Paper comics, just like that.
Yeah, and you get used to a certain thing. I mean,
do.
This is, the truth is, I don't know the page size on this, but I do know it's about a 10-inch tablet.
It is, yeah. So it's pretty similar as well to the iPad Air. Very, very similar in size. And then you also have mangas, which are generally about this size. They're 6-7 inches tall, and that's definitely a little bit smaller than an iPad Air. So you have a nice big difference there, but you want a nice big screen.
Right.
So my first one was the HDX Kindle Fire, the 7-inch one, but then I was like, maybe not. I'm thinking if you're an Apple user, you might want to go with the iPad Air, or you could go with the cheaper one if you want to get the Retina from like 2 years ago. So the iPad Air, it's $499 right now. It's a decent price. It's 9.7 inches, so pretty close to 10 inches. Has a nice sharp display. It's fast. Has all the comic reading apps that you would ever need, which is wonderful.
I almost want to say it almost doesn't really matter what tablet you're using, Android or iOS, especially with Comixology, because if you take a look at my desktop right now, this is Comixology, the website. This is Saga. I think this is about as far as I can go without getting into trouble with parents. Although they are giving birth right now, I think. But it's kind of funny. It takes a little getting used to. Because we'll show one more thing down here at the bottom. So if I go to click in, and I can go to single page, and it makes it a little bit larger. I can go to full screen. I can zoom in. I can zoom out. And this is kind of a radically different experience. It's not bad when you get used to it. And all of a sudden, like I have, the first 2 or 3 collected volumes of Saga, and it's available on Android, on our iOS devices, on our computers. And that actually I started to get really into. Kind of like, because we have one sort of large family account we're playing around with the Comixology right now.
Cool.
This is one of Samsung's higher-end tablets, about $500. Right. Do you want to spend $500 to read comic books?
Exactly. So if you don't want to, if you're on a bit of a budget, you can always go a little bit cheaper. Google Nexus 10 or a Samsung, if you have a cheaper one available that's around 10 inches. The Google Nexus 10 is $399, so it's about $100 cheaper than an iPad Air. Comixology and Kindle apps are available. The Marvel Unlimited app is also available, but as I'm reading reviews and I'm playing with it a little bit, it is a little janky at times, so I had a few issues with it trying to catch up with my finger scrolling as I was going through different panels. So it needs a little bit of work on Android.
Yeah.
But All three are available, so if you prefer Android, you could definitely go with that. We also have the Kindle Fire HDX 8.9-inch. We don't have one here in the studio, but it usually costs $379, but hey, look at that. They dropped the price a little bit to $339. There is no Marvel app, but there is Kindle and Comixology apps, and both of those work great with it. So which one is best? Which one would you prefer?
I'm going to say whichever one you actually have. Like, it depends on your budget,
Yeah,
what
that's
kind
true.
of comics you prefer. Do
Yes.
you run iOS? Do you run Android?
And the Windows Store does have a Comixology app if you want to go with a Windows 8 device. You totally have that option, but they are far cry from the nice apps that you can get on both iOS and Android. So I would definitely suggest one of those two operating systems.
It's basically any tablet you're willing to carry that has a good-looking screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, especially with Comixology, it seems to work very, very well across every single
It
device
does.
we've tested it
They've
on.
done a good job on their app.
And look, I have all the Saga now.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm gonna buy more comic books now.
Oh no!
Oh, come on, it's not that
it's
bad
kind
of
of
a
funny.
thing.
We have 15 cases of comic books in storage right now because we haven't.
my gosh.
We're running out of
I have
shelf
a
space in my
bookcase.
house.
One bookcase.
Yeah, well, I'm older than you are. My wife and I started a long time ago. More Tekzilla coming right up. But before we do that, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors. When you buy a domain name for domain.com, you get the power to influence and control what people find when they search for you online. No other domain extensions tell your story with the same trust of a .com or a .net domain name. .com and .net domain extensions inject credibility into your online presence. And who doesn't want to be credible? We like domain.com because they're affordable, reliable, and easy to use. It's why we use them. A .com domain is only $9.99 a year, and a .net is only $8.99 a year. Plus, the folks at domain.com gave Tekzilla an awesome offer we can pass along to you. Get 20% off domain.com's already affordable domain names and web hosting when you use the coupon code Tekzilla when you check out. That is 20% off. Big time savings, people. Don't forget to use the coupon code Tekzilla. And when you think domain names, think domain.com.